man.
Yeah, it's the worst. Okay, Cold Pod, we're back. Finally, with we've had a couple of people we didn't know, which has been very interesting because, it was very going into this whole idea of us being professional the first time and not so professional this time was because we've had all these people coming in. I'm like, hello, nice to meet you. Can I get you tea? We're all set up, boom, in and out, we record and go. But when we have a friend on the pod, we pulled a little bit of an audible. It was like, we're gonna start off, we're just gonna chill, we're gonna chat, and then the discussion of wine came up. Yeah. So then I ran and got some wine. Anyways,
fix the camera, and now we're here.
Now we're here. So without further ado, we have a special guest today, Duma, whose new album Real Life comes out today. Ooh. Because this comes out on Friday.
Ooh.
So if you're listening, go stream that album because it's out now, and there's a release show tonight that I'll be DJing.
Whoa, this is crazy.
So without further ado,
live shit.
Welcome, Duma.
Hi, welcome. Thank you.
This is good. This is fun. This is gonna be chill. I know you're a little nervous. You're like, what am I getting myself into?
But yeah.
Coming on Cold Pod. It's scary thing.
People get freaked out, but we're not. No one's trying to get you on the pod.
I
talk
get
about
it.
your album and music and
Well, it's like
stuff.
we're having a normal conversation, but then there's microphones.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're just hanging.
Yeah, the thing is, it loses its. It loses its cachet very quickly. Mm-hmm. We're just talking with microphones.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's talk about the album. Let's just jump right into it before we get to the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Real Life. I've heard it. You sent me a version of it in the summer, so I'd heard it. Actually, which I guess is the same version, but maybe it was like. You had said it.
I don't remember.
Well, you had said it was like it. Well, what I'll say is I listened to it again today. From what I remember, it sounds like it's pretty much the same thing. However, I'm sure if you were to compare the two versions or whatever, you'd be like, oh, this mix is like mix 2.1 or something, not 2.3.
I feel like I have like 10 versions of it on SoundCloud.
Okay.
Like uploaded that I send private links to.
Yeah.
And I don't know who has what. So I don't actually know who's listening to what. It's almost like when I did my resume and I have 10 versions of my resume that I'm sending out. Yeah. And people are like, oh, I looked at your resume. I'm like,
which one?
That one was geared towards a completely different.
Thank you.
Well, I have to admit, I did send Austin a version of the album today to listen to.
It's probably the same. Yeah. If anything, it's small changes that I'm like, oh God, no, I can't believe you have that version. But it's but it sounds identical.
Yeah, we would never know.
I probably couldn't even tell the difference.
I don't even know what mastering is. So
it makes it louder.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know that part, but supposedly there's more.
Is there more to it than that?
Do you know?
Yeah, it makes it so that it sounds the same across all forms of listening.
Yeah. Right.
But I feel like sometimes it doesn't even make it louder because they're the volume isn't what matters. It's the relative volume. You're like, okay, but how do I make it sound louder?
Yeah. Well, I remember.
That's all I want.
I honestly remember watching a Red Bull Music Academy thing. You remember those talks they would have?
Yeah.
And my friend Jim was like. He's like, oh, you got to watch the this mastering engineer. And I was like, out of all of the people that have been on this show, this is the last guy that I want to watch. But I did watch it. And the funny thing is it was really interesting. And I was like, this is actually cool because he did explain the concept of mastering. But what I will say is I took absolutely nothing from it. I don't remember anything from it. I just remember and then I mastered the record. And I was like... cool. Anyways, that's shit.
To be honest, I don't remember anything from anything ever. I feel like my memory is like one day.
Yeah.
I can watch a movie and then watch the same movie again the next night and I'll be like, wow, it was so good.
That's why I literally have Letterboxd now, is because I watch so many movies stoned that I have to log them or else I forget that I watched them all together.
But why do you what does it matter? If you could just
rewatch. So true.
I mean, I like the idea of living in
so it's so you remind yourself, I like this one?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's exactly all it is.
Rewatch it because you like it?
I have no idea. It's a really good question.
I guess it's your way of it's just your way of being film bro guy to be like, no,
categorizing.
Yeah. 4.5 stars.
Yeah.
It's like making playlists.
I didn't have it for the longest time. I got convinced.
Wait, so based on what you're saying, then you have no recollection of making this record?
Some of it, no.
Really?
I really, I was saying, and I've said this, I think, in an interview, but for example, the song System, like
which there are 2 versions of.
Yeah, so there's a new version on the album. It's like the same, but like I re-recorded the vocals because I kind of listened back to it and I was like, ugh, you know.
Wait, are you keeping the original? Are you keeping both up?
We'll see.
I'm always
to be
curious
determined. No, it's like a whole thing with the distributor right now.
Okay.
Like it's it doesn't even matter.
Okay.
But
Don't worry.
it's going to be replaced, but I also don't really know because it's like a remixed version with like re-recorded vocals.
Right.
I think it's like a thing where it's like it has to be a certain level of similarity and they'll replace it.
So
and
like,
if
does
not,
an algorithm pick it up, or does like a person
I have
pick
no
it up?
idea. Someone told me this. I don't even know if it's true. I guess we'll see what happens. Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that song, like, I remember vaguely like the time before and after writing it, but I don't remember at all writing it.
Yeah.
And I know because like Ben played on the song.
Yeah. Does
But
he
I
remember?
don't remember him coming in because I just feel like I just sat down and I did the whole thing.
Right.
But like I can't play guitar like that. so
Like, trust me, I
he
did that.
definitely played, like I know he did, and he did an amazing job because I
Yeah.
love the way it sounds. But like no, I don't remember at all. Like,
Really?
Nothing,
That's
nothing.
crazy.
It's
Which
like I blacked
that
out and it
makes-
was done.
I've definitely done that before, where I've just like I have songs on my computer where I'm just like, where the fuck did this come from?
Yeah.
And I actually, for a second, I'm like, this is someone else's. And it's not.
Does that ever happen with like? Because I feel like I do know. Like, I guess the question is very bloated in the sense that like I'm not like what was going through your head when you were making the track, but like it's always funny because I also can't really remember. You ever like listen back to your own music and go like, damn, like how did I do this?
But that's called flow
all the
state.
time, especially if it's something that like I really like,
Yeah.
or like, and I'm like
Yeah.
listening to the drums, I'm like, how the fuck, like,
Yeah.
like how this sounds so sick, and I'm like, and I try to like open the file, it's like none of the plugins work, it's like 28 files missing,
You have to try to
nothing
recreate it.
plays.
Yeah,
I'm like, well, I guess we'll never know.
You're like, well,
I think that's just called flow state. Like I think that's what happens when you're in flow state. is You just like
100%,
lose.
yeah.
It's like when you're driving a car and you like randomly arrive at your destination, and you don't remember driving there.
Yeah,
That kind of
I've
shit.
never driven
You
in
know.
my
Well,
life.
yeah, you've never driven, but you know what I mean. Stuff like that, where it's like you're just completely flow, and then that's when the best shit happens.
yeah.
I
fair.
agree. I feel like the ones that I remember doing are the ones that I did and redid and redid and redid.
Yeah.
And then by the end of it, it's like I'm like looking at it and it just like makes me feel tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to listen to this anymore.
Right,
like,
right.
you know, versus like the things that happen in like 30 seconds, they're just like done. And
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
I love it. We're
Yeah.
done.
Well, because I feel like too, you're often kind of in like a sort of mode where you often think that in order for something to be good, it should take a long time to make,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like oftentimes not always the case. Like it doesn't like there's shit that I've spent like weeks on and then been like, this sucks, and then there's things that I've spent like a day on or even less and been like, it's perfect.
I will say like all my least favorite songs on the album are the ones that took the longest.
Yeah, that's usually the
Yeah.
case.
All of my
Yeah.
favorite ones were done really quickly.
I think like writing films or writing in any kind is a funny example of this, because like you will be sitting with a script for so long or sitting with a story for so long, but when the actual writing process, if it's good, takes like 3 days.
Right.
But just like the sitting with it and thinking about it and
Yeah.
writing notes and stuff takes like years.
Yeah.
You know, but the actual writing is like, if it's good, it's like that.
Yeah, and I think that's like with music production as well. It's just like if you just like kind of know, like if you just go into it and you just start making something, and then you're just like, oh, this is sounding good. I feel like you get that kind of adrenaline where things just like you're like, whoa, now I want to add synths.
Yeah.
Now I want to add guitar. And then like by the end of the
Yeah.
session or whatever, you're just like, hell yeah, you know.
Yeah,
What
for
happened?
sure.
So who else plays on this? Is it just you and Ben, or not just you? But then other
There
collaborators?
is a woman who plays on it named Kristie Muller, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, but she plays lap steel, and I found her on Instagram and I was like, this is incredible.
Whoa.
And so she plays on the track so long.
That's
Okay.
That's our favorite track.
Yeah, we were talking about that. That's our favorite one.
I love that song too.
Yeah,
That
so
also
good.
came together quickly, but that one's like I think it was like the guitar was recorded like in one take, and like the chorus part, or like not the chorus, but I think after the chorus like there's like a little like break
Yeah.
that was like improvised.
Yeah.
But we liked it, so we just kind of kept it.
Yeah.
And then I got Christine to play lap steel on it, and she just sent me like a couple different takes, so I kind of like copy and pasted
And, like,
it
chopped it
around,
up and
and
stuff.
that's really all that's on. Like even like the whistling was like on the original like guitar.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
one
Sick.
take of the guitar, like it was really just one take of it.
But that's the best stuff. Again, that's the best stuff where it's like, I'm sure that one take probably wasn't supposed to be the take.
Yeah.
It was probably supposed to be like, you know.
Well, it was like, hey, can you come over here and just like record this really quick? Like, I just need like something so that I can like write the vocals too.
Right.
And then I wrote the vocals. I'm like, we're not changing it.
Well, there's less like pressure surrounding it too. I think when you like it's the first one, you know, because you know that you can do a million others.
Yeah.
And you're just less rehearsed, so it's just like coming out way easier.
Well, what they refer to that is demoitis.
Demoitis.
No, I honestly subscribe to it. I think it's real. Like, do you know what it is?
Well, I'm assuming that it's just like the syndrome of
getting attached.
the demo being way better.
Yeah, not even being better per se, but you being attached to the demo.
True.
Yeah, for sure.
But I guess maybe not because you re-recorded System.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so for System, all I wanted to do was re-record the vocals, and I've tried re-recording the vocals to a bunch of other songs, and it's never as good as the original.
Yeah.
But that one, I don't know, it just kind of worked.
Yeah.
And then in terms of remixing it, it's not that I didn't like the mix on the first one, because I did. It's just that all of the other ones were being mixed a certain way, so I was like, I wanted to like all like sound like one sound, so that's why I had it remixed. But I liked the mix on the first one too, you know?
Yeah.
It's just, I just wanted to fix the vocals.
So you feel that like you wanted it to be like a cohesive like project?
Yeah.
Just like from start to finish? Yeah.
More or less. Because like it already like jumps around genres so much that like I need like something to like kind of unify it. And if that's the mixing.
You don't have just like some random person being like one track being like, and then the rest
I mean, I do
like,
kind of.
We'll save that for album 2. Let's talk about tempo a little bit because like I feel like I love like slow music and I feel like it's kind of having a bit of a moment right now. Like people are kind of like, because, and I feel like it's not to go into the whole like everything is a reaction to everything, but you know, post pandemic there was so much just like we need fucking techno, we need bodies in the room, we need to, you know what I mean, that like sweaty.
Really? I feel like the total opposite.
Yeah, I do too. But there was definitely that.
But that was
movement.
kind of the general idea.
I think maybe because I wrote it during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Most of it. That like, but even after, I don't know. I feel like before, like pre-pandemic, I was going out a lot. And I was like partying a lot and listening to a lot of loud music and fast music. And that's kind of what I was making.
Right.
And then the pandemic happened. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you can't go anywhere. And then I just started listening to slower music. I started going to bed at like 9 p.m. and waking up at 6 a.m. And I was like, wait, this actually is so much better.
Have you kept that up?
Yeah.
Yeah? Dang,
for the most part, yeah.
I also was like waking up at 6 a.m. during the pandemic and now I'm right back.
Like maybe it's 7 now, but like, no. I'm like waking up early, going to bed early. And then I'm like, I don't like, now I hear, I'm like, oh, stop. Like, it's just so loud. But then I'll go to like a rave. I'll be like, oh my God, it's amazing. I remember it.
Yeah, it's like your memories just being like, oh yeah, this side. It's like the devil on your shoulder. Just being like, hey, life. But no, I do feel like there's kind of like I guess a yin and a yang of like sounds. But I just feel like people are kind of like in such extreme modes right now where not to say that they don't listen to both, but they'll either be like, I am in like fucking mode, or I'm in like, I don't know why I'm making these noises, but like, and like, I find that I am kind of the same. Like I'm that person.
Yeah, you definitely shift.
I shift based on like mood, you know?
Yeah.
But would you
Same.
But would you say that your mood when creating sticks to one, you know, I don't want to say
no,
tempo, but like, you know
not
what I
at
mean?
all. Like if you listen to like the things I've started and haven't finished, or the things I've started and still working on, like I'll hear like a song that's like really fast that I really like. I'm like, all of my music has to sound like this. And then I'll hear something really slow. Like I'll listen to like a group or album. I'd be like, nope, now everything's going to sound like this. And now like I'll hear like an R&B song. I'm like, I could sing R&B.
I could do that. But that's the fun of creating anything, is like sort of not to say chameleon effect, but the idea of like really pulling from certain things and like making them your own. But did you stick to like one kind of sound because you really wanted this album to feel like one thing?
Okay, if you think it all feels like one thing.
I mean that in a good way, by the way.
No, but that's great, because my concern before was like, it sounds like too many things. Because like the second song has like the Land and Sea and Sky has like, it's like almost like trappy.
But it still has like a warm quality to it. It doesn't sound like cold. Whereas like I imagine like, and when I think of trap music or whatever, trap drums, because it's just the drums, really.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that cold, like, you know, there's like a level of haze to the whole production.
Yeah, I feel like that's maybe just because that's just what I like things to be like a little bit like fucked up and like a little hazy. So I feel like it maybe has that like gloss over everything, or like maybe the opposite of gloss, like fog over everything. But I thought it was like I thought maybe it sounded too different. But if you think it all sounds the same, then I feel like somewhere in between is perfect.
Yeah. Well, I feel like you're always going to be your toughest critic, because like I had a very similar thing with like my shit that I'm working on right now, where I'm just like, this album is just like a bunch of different genres thrown together because I couldn't decide what the whole thing should be. And even when I was listening to your record today, I was like, fuck, I should have just made like my album just like feel cohesive. But
okay, I feel like that way. I feel everybody says that, and every time I listen to anyone's music, like including yours, I'm like, this is so Josh. I'm like, every single song sounds just like Josh. I'm like, why can't I make something so cohesive?
Probably because you're blind to yourself.
Exactly,
like your own
because I was
personality.
literally having the exact same thing you just said about me, but to you.
That's so
I was like,
funny.
fuck, this all sounds cohesive. Like none of my shit sounds cohesive.
That's so funny. Wow.
But I feel like me and you are also like and like just like knowing you over the years, like I feel like we listen to a lot of different music all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like it's hard to like be making just like one thing that sounds exactly the same all the time, because there's just like there's so much good music, and there's so much to be inspired by, and there's so much that like I don't know, like when I hear something that's really good, like it doesn't matter what genre it is, I'm like, where's my computer?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like where's the guitar? Where's the piano? Like I need to do something, you know?
Yeah.
And like so it's like bound to be influenced by, you know, whatever.
But I think too an interesting thing is, and I think what complicates it is the fact, and we can talk about the name change in a sec, but the fact that now your music is just your name, I feel like it adds this additional pressure. Or like mine's not necessarily my name, but my name is in it. You know what I mean? It's like it's kind of like, oh, this is like you.
Yeah.
So therefore it has to represent you in the sense where like I couldn't just like put out like a random techno track because I would be like, well, it's not really me. But like,
that's the shit that you
me.
can't like try to do.
Yeah.
You know, you can't try to make something like representative of you, because that's just how it's naturally going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, and if you tried to do that, you don't have a good enough sense of self to be able to do that. Like true. No one does.
Yeah, no, you're right.
To be able to do that logically would be insane.
Yeah.
I do like, yeah, I know what you mean. I also like, I feel like I have before, like, okay, like pre-name change, I had like a bunch of tracks that I didn't end up releasing that were kind of like more industrial, kind of like techno-y, and I still like some of them, and I'm like, God, I could never put them out under this project because this project sounds so like so much like this. But maybe I can, but also maybe I can't. I don't know. My sister came up with a good name.
Kat, your alias?
Duma.
Kat.Duma?
For a second project with just like weird alts.
Yeah, just like Kat.Duma. It's just like
that's hilarious.
That's good. I think you can put stuff out like that. It just depends on if. That's hard to say. I
feel like you need to be like one of those like a vegan or like one of those genius kids like producers, you know, like makes all kind
songs.
of like, I'm like, I don't know, maybe, but probably not.
How do you guys like decide what songs are like sound like they should be on an album together? Because that I don't understand. Like other than just it coming out naturally, I don't understand that.
I think you just pick your favorite songs.
Is that what it is?
I mean, at the end of the day.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like I don't know. I can't speak for everyone else, but like, it's not like you have like 100 amazing songs, and you're like, maybe I should pick the ones that like fit. You know, you're just like, I'm picking my favorite ones, whether or not they fit together, and then you know, someone tells you that they do.
Yeah. No, I think the other thing too is like, if you do have those things that you want on because you think that they like fit. That's where the old interlude comes in.
Interesting.
You're just like, I just want to add that because I just want it to be there, but it's not a song.
Okay.
Yeah.
Every time I start a song, I'm like, this is an interlude.
Yes.
I go in, I'm like, this is going to be the interlude. And then I start working on it and someone hears it. They're like, no, you need to make that into a song. I'm like,
see, I had the opposite.
Okay.
Exact same.
I don't want to. I was like, it's 1 minute long. Actually, that second song on the album is an interlude,
Yeah,
but then I was like, no, I really like it as a song, so I'm just gonna call it a song regardless
Right.
of its length.
Yeah,
True.
it's like what, like a minute 30?
It took
or something?
a minute and a half. When I played it live, like when it ended, everyone was like they didn't know whether to clap or not. I'm like, it's over. Like, haven't you heard punk music before? It's
The
short.
song could be short. It's okay.
I had the opposite thing happened to me the other day where I played a song that I was like, no, this is a full song, and someone was like, oh yeah, it's a nice interlude, and I was like, fuck you. Jesus Christ.
But I almost feel that like it's interesting to think about, because in a sense I would maybe say that like writing an interlude is like very difficult, because I do have the same thing where like, you know, the record that I'm working on right now, no interludes. In my mind, when I like mapped out the idea of it in my head, I was like, there's gonna be all these interludes, little things bleeding in and out, like da 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 da. Album has no interludes. It's 12 songs. But I tried to make interludes, and like you were saying, every time I'd be like, this little washy thing is an interlude. And then I'd be like, but that synth sounds really good. Let me add some drums to it.
I think the thing is, it's like when you start making something and then you tell yourself like, oh, it's just going to be an interlude, then you kind of like rid yourself of the pressure of like, I'm making a song.
Yeah.
True.
You know? So you're like, I can just do whatever I like. And then what you like ends up being like what you like. And then it ends up turning into a song because you're like, this is fun. Like, you know, and then it like turns into a song. But to be honest, also, like, I feel like interludes, like, nobody likes them but the artist.
I know.
Yeah, it's so true.
Like, nobody wants a
It
13-second thing in between two tracks. Like, just get me to the next song.
It is kind of self-indulgent.
A little bit.
100%. I was talking to someone the other day about Kanye West, Donda, and they were just like, they're like, yeah, but like there's no reason for the Donda chant to be at the beginning, which is the track where it's just the voice going Donda, 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 and I was like, no. It's fucking amazing. But like, yeah, nobody listens to that. Like anybody who's like listening to any of these albums, like, you don't need the interlude. But you're right, it's completely like a self-indulgent thing, like about the artist, and maybe only liked by other artists,
Or like by people who like really love the artist.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like all my favorite songs that I've made started with me being like, don't worry about it, it's just an interlude.
Yeah.
And then they're like,
Yeah.
then it's just like ballooned into something else, which is, you know, I think it may be a nice way to go about it.
That's
Right.
sick. Yeah, taking the pressure off.
Yeah, I think it definitely it makes it easier to show. I mean, it also makes it easier to show things too when you're like, it's not a song. It's not a song. It's just an interlude. And then they're like, no, this is sick. You're like, yeah, it is sick. Okay, now it's a song.
But also it's kind of annoying when you're like, it's just an interlude, and then they're like, no, you need to turn it into a song.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. Well, then
Are
how
you
do you
serious?
feel-
I have to go back.
Yeah. How do you feel about finishing music then? Because I feel like that's the whole, you know, starting and finishing are the two ways to make things, but like the ending is the whole other thing as well. Like when do you realize something is done?
Do you mean finishing like in terms of your work, or do you mean finishing in terms of like mastering?
Your work. We don't need to talk about mixing and mastering.
I think like when you get to the point where you're like, I literally just don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Or you get to the point where you're like, I love it.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like I feel like one or the other, and like the second one is usually something that's better.
Yeah, when you just realize that you like the thing.
Yeah.
But I do think it's hard sometimes, because do you ever find when you show people, your peers, like music that's, you know, quote unquote unfinished, right? Do you ever find yourself saying that it's maybe a demo, or it's unfinished, even if it is finished, just to like get, you know, the reaction maybe that you want out of people? Because sometimes I would find that I would do things where I'd be like, the song would be done, but I'm unsure of it. So when I send it to somebody, I say it's a demo,
Right.
Or I say it's unfinished. And then
I
the
feel
worst-
like I usually send it to people before I think I'm done.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, like maybe if it's like someone, I don't know. I feel like my closest friends, like, I'm really sorry to them, but like they'll hear like 30 versions before I'm finished.
Yeah.
So like maybe if I'm sending it to someone who like I'm not so close with, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, it's like maybe not done, like, but then like that person, what are they gonna say? They're gonna be like, I love it, like,
Yeah.
you know,
But
like
then
they're not gonna give you like criticism. You're like,
Sometimes
who's
you do get that. You ever give people shit and they give you criticism and you're like, I was not asking for that.
I mean,
Well, the worst is when people
Not
give
really.
you like the criticism of like really obvious stuff that you just like haven't gotten to yet.
Yeah.
And I think that's that same thing where it's like it's unfinished, so just don't point out the obvious shit.
Yeah.
I know, you know.
The worst is like when you're like, I don't know, I'm thinking between like this and this, and then they give you criticism on some like other thing that you're like fully you've set on, you're finished, you're like, I love this, and they're like, I don't know, maybe you should think about changing that. I'm like, stop. Like, why would you even bring this into the conversation?
I got a couple of friends named Beep who love to tell me things that I did not ask for.
Yeah, I'm like, stick to the...
It's like, so should the drums come in like at the beginning of the first verse or midway through the first verse? I'm like, maybe you should change the bass. I'm like, fuck off.
Not what I asked you.
Yeah.
But, okay, so hold on. Going back to the name change then, because this is something that we talked about a lot. I was always like, call the project Kat Duma, and you were like, no.
I know. Yeah.
I only bring it up because I remember like being drunk at parties and being like,
listen,
just call it Kat
like,
Duma.
Okay, not only did everyone ever say that, but then when there had any kind of press, it would still say Kat Duma. Like they wouldn't even, and I was like, it's KD, and they're like, Cade? Like they didn't even know. I know, everyone did. I was like trying to make it like my initials. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like eventually I was like, okay, everyone's calling it this anyway, so like, what am I doing? Also, like, it got to a point where I was like, I feel uncomfortable even typing this word. I was like, make it stop. Like, I need to stop. And then, and so then I just changed.
No, I mean, it's sick. It's like, I just think it's funny because it was such a... You have like an awesome name anyways. Like,
I think it's because like I didn't know exactly, because I was still kind of like trying to make different music and I didn't know exactly what I wanted to make, and if I made something with my name it just felt so like final.
Yes.
You know, it's like this is, and it's something that you were saying earlier too, it's like it just felt like now this is what's going to represent me, but I still didn't feel like I figured out what I wanted that to be, so it was a lot easier if I just had some name, but I probably should have just done something like so like different from my name, like you know, like just like whatever. But I don't know, who cares?
Well, I think it's good though, because I think that now, you know, it also just like when you call something, you know, by your name, your given name, it does make it more like, I don't know, it makes the project seem more serious. Like, not to say that I never thought any of your music before wasn't serious, but like when it was like, oh, this is like A, your first album, and B, under your name, it was kind of like not even a reset, but it was kind of like, oh, okay, this is like the thing that we've been like leading up to the whole time.
Well, I think that's like also the scary part, is like being like, you know, people taking it really seriously, but then you get to a point where you're like, okay, I have to first start taking myself seriously, because it's like we've been doing this for a while,
and you want everyone
like,
to take it seriously. It's just,
because like you want people to take it seriously before, but you're not really taking it seriously yourself, and then you're being like, why aren't other people taking it seriously? Well, obviously.
Yeah, well, it's like putting on like a guise. It's just kind of like hiding behind something, because like
totally,
you know, we've all had versions of that. Like, you know, I had a project where I was anonymous. Pitched my voice and hit it. It's like things like that where you're not really trying to like, you're just not comfortable enough yet to like step out onto the stage.
No,
you know what I mean?
Exactly
to like really like, you know, put yourself out there. And I think it's a really hard thing to do, to like I'm like years away from releasing something under Josh McIntyre.
Just do it.
No.
It doesn't matter, I promise.
Look how the tables have turned.
No.
Yeah, I'm like, we're getting drunk at a party. I'm like, Josh, just do it. Josh McIntyre.
Just Josh McIntyre. It's your name.
It's the best one, I promise.
Did you know that your name was sick? Or were you like...
Did I know that my name was sick?
Yeah. Like, did you know that was like a good name?
You definitely did.
I mean, like, it's a name. I don't think it's a bad name.
But I feel like there's a lot of people like that. Like, I mean, I think that's just another one of those things where you are so blind to it yourself because you grew up with it. You know, it's like literally a word that you've stared at way too fucking long. So there's no potential for you to see how sick it is to everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
I think I also had like a thing, like, because my family, like, I'm Serbian, and like my family and like all my family friends and like the volleyball team that I played on growing up and like all like the school, like all like everybody was like, and so like the name Kat is a bit weird,
right?
Because they're like Ket, and like it just sounds weird, you know. So it's like only my like Canadian friends who are like, it's a cool name, and I'm like, no, it's not. But I think when I started releasing music, like even my grandma, like when she like sends me a text and she like references my name, she'll spell like K-E-T.
Yeah.
I'm like, please stop. But like, because it's like normally you'd read it like cut, not like cat.
Yeah,
you know, because cat like very like American sounds like almost like an E sound.
Yeah.
But I think I realized that like it actually works as like a music name when I started releasing like other music, and everybody was like Duma, Duma.
Yeah.
And then like. Yeah, and then some friends like would call me by like first and last name at the same time, and I was like, all right, I guess it works.
Well, there was like an era too of like I remember like there were certain rappers, not gonna say who, but there were just some rappers that had like rap names, and like then you'd like read their real names. I'm like, this name is sick. Like, why did you even need to have like a suede, like a, you know, like why even have that?
Yeah.
Like who?
I'm not gonna do that. But then there's the one. Then there's the ones that like. Then there's the ones that like don't need names like that, where it's like, you know, like DMX, like Earl Simmons. Like, that doesn't sound tough. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you need things like, sometimes you need, but I always just thought that the name Kat Duma kind of like weirdly like sounds like the music.
That's interesting.
Oh.
To the point where if I didn't know you, well, okay, I'm not without the obvious like doom part of it and being like, oh, this is gonna be like a metal band or something. Like, if you spelt it differently, it could be like CATDOOMA. It's like some kind of weird, like, you know,
True, yeah.
Dutch metal band or something. But
That'd be sick. That's what you should do for your side project.
Spell
it like that.
That's where you release all.
That's my third one.
That's for like
Kat Duma.
Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, we don't even know what that genre would be. But yeah, anyways. So with the video stuff and sort of the visual side of things, obviously this is like a big part of the project. You worked with Kristie Muller. You guys were talking about it earlier when I went to the LCBO to get wine. Mm-hmm. How was that?
It was great. Mm-hmm. Honestly, like it was funny because like I think neither of us really knew what we were going to shoot, and Lauren was also going to be involved, but I think she got COVID.
She did. I remember this.
Yeah, right when we were about to shoot, and I was like, oh, I'm going to miss her. But we kind of went in there like not really having. Oh, there's a little dog here, and she just yawned.
We forgot to introduce
my friend Emma.
Our friend Emma.
Yeah, no. So we didn't really know what we were going to shoot, and we kind of just like got this room in this hotel.
Yeah, where was that?
It's like, I don't even know. It's like north. Okay. I don't know, like a half-hour drive.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I don't know, like north. I don't know.
But we got Toronto.
Somewhere north.
Yeah, we got a room and it had this cool like pool inside, and it had, I don't know, an outside. But we just kind of started shooting, and we just got as much content as possible. Mm-hmm. And then she was like, just don't worry. Like, I'm going to edit. It's going to look sick. And I was like, okay. Yeah. And I really, really had like zero idea of what that was going to look like. Right. And then when she sent it to me, I was like, I love it. Yeah. You know, it's like, amazing. It's one of those things where I was like, I was worried. I was like, what if I have to like have feedback? And then like, but like I just watched it. I was like, okay,
done.
Perfect. Yeah. I love it. Thank you so much. And it's interesting. And I've said this before, but what she like used wasn't like we'd shoot something and I would like know that I'm on camera, and then like maybe be like a little like, I don't know, this is a podcast, but like but like a little posed or something, and then she like would stop shooting maybe, and then like it's in those like moments in between that I thought were like that were what she ended up using. Right. And I thought that was really cool because it like actually showed me being myself. And like I had a friend who like watched it after and was like, oh, I really like it because it actually seems like you. That's you know, versus like when you have like other like photo shoots or like video shoots or something, and then it's like you and you're like, I need to make sure I look absolutely perfect in every single shot, and like if I don't, then we have to redo the whole thing, you know. But like that was like, it just felt really like real. The song was called Real Life. So it really worked.
But it's we were talking about this earlier, but like, I mean, she is such a singular artist and has such a interesting way of working that most people just can't pull off straight up. Like, most people can't do what she does. But you guys were saying that it's sick to have her around just because having like a female eye on things, understanding like, you know, how you want to look and making like just trusting someone that they're gonna make you look good, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's maybe that she has like the confidence of knowing that like it's gonna, like, the shot looks good. So like it's not like she's just focused on like the shot looking good, but she's focused on the shot looking good and you looking good.
Right.
Which is like sometimes working with photographers, especially like male photographers, something that they don't necessarily see. Like it could be like the coolest looking photo in the world, but like I look bad, you know? And I'm like, I'm trying to explain it to them. They're like, but it's so good. I'm like, yeah, I know. I agree, but I don't like it.
What the fuck is the subject here? The subject isn't your framing, bro.
It's fine if it was someone else, but it's not. It's me, so I don't like it.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of people have this issue. Like, you know, just the idea of, and I equate it mostly to like film bros and stuff. Just like the idea of being like, yeah, like the shot. Like, we got the shot.
Yeah.
But I'm like, but yeah, but like,
what does that mean?
yeah. And when I say shot, I mean like you're saying the framing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and that kind of goes back into classic, just like, you know, certain types of like artists that don't actually, that care more about the craft than the actual art. If that makes any sense.
I think it's the musical equivalent of someone who like is like mixing and mastering. You know what I mean? Like the people who are really like technically involved and interested in that. That's a really important thing, but it's not the thing.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's why on a film set, usually there's like the director and cinematographer dichotomy there, because then you have that one person who's focusing on that, the technical side, and the director who's hopefully paying attention to the magic of the moment, right?
As you can tell, I know very little about film.
But it's almost not that way a lot of the time, because I think sometimes a lot of people, especially nowadays, I think with filmmakers who are just like picking up a camera and getting into it, really a lot of directors are getting into it because they're nerding out over technology first.
Right.
And that's super weird.
Was this shot on iPhone?
Yes. It was an iPhone, and she had another like small digital camera.
Yeah.
But I think all of the video was shot on iPhone.
Which is so sick though, and that's the kind of thing of like using the technology like in a way.
Yeah, I can't imagine what her like iPhone roll looked like after.
Well, we asked her when she was here.
Oh yeah.
And she was like, what did she say? She had like, it was like 40,000 something.
Yeah,
It was
something
Okay,
insane.
like same.
Yeah, actually, I think it was
But there's,
more than
like,
that, because it was like
all
insane.
screenshots and selfie.
And she has it all archived.
Just memes and horrible photos of me.
Accidental screenshot.
Is that the only video you shot for this album? You only put up one video with this rollout, right?
Yeah. It is the only video that I shot for this album.
Okay.
I shot like some other footage, and like I'm in talks of shooting a couple other videos, but yeah, I think that's the only one that we shot for this.
Do you like music videos? Because we've been talking about this a lot lately, where it's like, I personally love music videos. I like love them, but a lot of people lately are just like, what's the point?
Yeah.
You know? And I wonder.
Okay, I love other people's music videos, but I kind of hate making music videos.
Oh, it's yeah.
I just find that like there's just too many things you need to worry about. It's like, one, you need to worry about whether it looks good like as a video.
Yeah.
Two, you need to worry about whether you look good, and then three, it's like whether your performance is good, like whether you're being like true to yourself and like also conveying the right, you know, story and like having the right performance. But you're like, if you're acting in something, you don't really care about like what you look like, whether you look hot or whatever, and then you don't really care about like what the whole thing looks like, because that's someone else's job,
Right.
you know. But like when it's your music video, there's just so many things. I just find it so stressful, you know.
that
Like
seems
I'm just
insane.
like I Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta really trust the people that you're working with.
Yeah.
To like, they know that they're gonna like make you do this and like make the shot look cool. So like, all you have to focus on is like just like delivering the best performance.
Yeah.
And when you have that trust with people,
Yeah.
then music videos are sick.
Yeah,
You know, because then you're like, okay, we're gonna make something amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But oftentimes, like, what happens is that you're not 100% sure. So then you're so busy worrying about everything else that you end up like delivering like a half-assed performance, and you watch it back and you're like, that's not it.
Right.
You know?
And there's always just the fear of like, people tend to have like really big ambitions. I find directors often have like ambitions bigger than the budget or the means.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that's like worse than like, something that looks amateurish.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
usually happens when somebody has like a big idea, but just like not necessarily the means to actually make it.
Yeah, 100%.
And
Working within your means is like the hardest thing to learn as
Yeah.
a filmmaker.
Like I remember like shooting many videos with people and being like, I want to do this, and like we're shooting it, we're like literally shooting the damn video, and I'm like, we got all the good stuff, like I'm happy, and like, no, now we got to do this, and so I'm like, dude, like why? Like we don't even have like
maybe at that point, like if you are confident that you got all of the shots, then you can kind of like let them do it. But then in the edit, you can kind of edit it back down. Yeah. But if you don't feel like you got it, and then like some like wild things are being like thrown at you, you're just like, please, can we just like simplify? Like we can just do like nothing, like plain backdrop, just a performance. And make that look really good.
Yeah.
You know? Because, like, that is so hard to do. But then doing that with everything else going on, like, I feel like usually takes, like, a really big budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so then how do you feel about collaboration? Like, do you want to just keep it very much as small as possible with those that you trust?
No. I don't want to, but that's what I do. Mm-hmm. Because I just like, I have the small people around me that I trust, and that's like, but I would like to, like, there's so many artists that are like so incredible. You listen to their music or like watch their videos and you're like, I would love to collaborate with that person. Yeah. But you just don't know them yet or whatever. Right. But like, hit me up.
No, cause I've found, through the years, and it's not something that I think is necessarily good, but I've definitely like made my circle smaller.
Oh yeah.
In the sense of just being like to the point where like, no word of a lie, this next record I'm putting out, there's like literally like zero collaboration. It's like I was like no, like no, and like that's
for Prince Josh.
Yeah, I was just like no, like no more of this, because like
not even Lauren.
Lauren's on.
No, she's on there, but uncredited.
Sorry, Lauren.
No, but actually, damn.
No, we love to hear it. I love her voice
that makes
on
me sound
everything.
like such an asshole.
Yeah, we all understand.
But it's because,
I'm not crediting my girlfriend.
No, but the reason I bring it up, excuse me, is because I feel like, there's so many things that you care about with the way things come out, the way things look. Like I have like gotten to the point where I don't even want to see Bracket featuring somebody.
So yeah.
I wanted it just to look clean. I wanted things to be small. I didn't want to like, with the exception of one thing that I am doing, which is like a collaboration and something with Austin, which is like, but again, this goes into my idea of keeping things small. We became friends in the last year, have a very similar like vision on things, and are like close enough as friends that we can like talk about things and make things happen the way that like there's honestly it's communication. We have a level of friendship where we can communicate with each other that we can both be happy with what comes out, and I think that takes.
We almost don't need to communicate.
Yeah, I know. You'll send me shit and I'm like perfect, and I feel like
that's amazing.
And I feel like would you say that is something you're maybe now. Like with the Kristie stuff and like just talking about the way things.
I think that's everyone's goal.
Yeah,
like I feel
100%.
like just like finding someone that you like really are on the same page with.
I just want to work with my friends for as long as I can.
And like the greatest is when that happens like cross media or something.
Yeah.
It's like you're making music and someone's making film, and you just have the same taste and
a really great example honestly is like is Arca and Kanda.
Yeah.
Where Rob and I were talking about this, but like, when they have such a relationship, those two, where and he said this, and I was like, fuck, you're so right. He was like, the visuals and the covers look like the music.
Yeah.
And that comes from like literally two people being so close and collaborating so closely that their art starts to like bounce off of each other, you know? And I feel like that's kind of like,
I feel like they're both also like so, like, because even Jesse Kanda's music is so good.
Yeah.
You know, it's like so good that I'm like, what do you,
I know.
Genius.
you know, like you could probably write a novel. It'd be amazing.
No, it's so true. I remember when like they like put out like an album, and I was like, classic like artist, director, whatever wants to make music, and I was like, wow, this is like it's like the equivalent of like throwing my laptop out my window.
Literally, you're like, I quit.
I was like, fuck this, I'm not doing this anymore. Like it's all like they're so good, but.
Yeah, but no, I think it's so sick to work with your friends. That's ultimately the goal. But you know, it's hard to find a friend who's an amazing film director, or a friend who's like an amazing actor. You know, like that's why it's like communities like this and communities that like I don't know, we're trying to foster, trying to do, that are so important, because that's where you meet people like that. And like the best collaborators I've ever met have been from getting like fucked up at a bar, you know?
Yeah.
And that's so disappointing to say, but it's kind of fucking true, you know? Because you get down to a level
I don't know
that
if
you
Kat's
don't.
gonna agree with you. And she doesn't go out past 9:00 anymore.
But you know what I mean? Something like that, some kind of version of that.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, I don't know. Where did we meet? Not that we collaborated.
We never collaborated, but we did meet probably late,
like at a
somewhere.
bar.
Yeah, there you go.
We're collaborating right now.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a deadly collab. The first one.
Let's go.
We're
Years
linking
in the
and
making.
building.
Yeah, you gotta link and build, guys.
We gotta link and build. Fuck, there's something I was gonna say. I can't remember what it was now. What I was gonna say though is that what does end up happening, I think, in order to get to this place that I think the two of us are actually at musically, with making music and shooting videos and blah 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 blah, is that there's, and I'll just admit it because I know it's my podcast, I don't care what I say, but it's like, you know, I had to have a lot of bad collaborations in order to like find out what I really want. Right. You know?
For sure.
And that's not a shot at literally anybody in particular, but I just mean the kind of thing where, you know, it's trial and error. Like I shoot like the amount of videos and things that I've shot and time that I've wasted of other people, which I feel bad about.
Same.
But unfortunately was like, I can't put this out because like,
Same.
I'm not trying to, this isn't charity. I'm not trying to like, you just like, you know, I was like,
100%.
So I think that that's kind of the thing that you have to sort of like, it just takes time, you know?
Yeah, it's hard, and yeah, especially when you like don't do it and you feel so bad, and they're like, well, why aren't you? And then sometimes it's like they'll shoot something that you actually like, but then you're like, oh wait, I don't like the song. Like, never mind, sorry.
Like, oops.
I'm trying to think of like I feel like it's just approaching everything like an experiment. And if you approach everything like an experiment, then it doesn't fucking matter what happens with it.
Yeah, but like people put in like a lot of time and effort and money. Like they're like, it's something that you might be seeing in this experiment. Like they may not be seeing it that way. So yeah, it's definitely like, unless it's like you guys are like friends and you're both like, let's just try it. You know, but like oftentimes there's like a lot of people involved. Yeah. And when people are, you know, donating their time, especially, it does suck when things don't work out. But
classic move though, say, unfortunately, I'm not using the video, but feel free to use it on your reel.
Hey,
Ouch.
Totally.
Brings me back. No.
Wait, is that bad?
That's actually never happened to me. But
well, no, I just mean like, you know, like being like, this isn't coming out, but like you're welcome.
Feel free to use it on your reel, but don't put it out on Vimeo with my name.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you can use like clips of it as you have your like, what do they call that? Like your fucking.
Pretty much, I just don't want to be
like
associated with this.
No.
It's extra funny. Sorry, just this quick side note, which is really funny. Is like, there's like a big director who was supposed to come on the pod sometime soon. He's not coming anymore, but Graham Foy, who has like this movie. Apparently it's amazing. We're going to watch it. We have some guests coming on that around that. But the joke of this is, and I really wanted to talk to him about it, is the fact that he's now this hot director with this hot movie, but he shot a music video for Prince Citizens
No way.
years ago. And I was looking through the emails, and it literally has the quote that I just said to you guys.
Oh my God.
But he just shot this thing without really.
No wonder he's not coming on the podcast.
But it was
he's like, I'm not going to do it, but feel free to use it for your Instagram.
Final sentence is, unfortunately, we're not going to use this, but feel free to use it.
Dude, that's why he's not coming on.
Yeah.
I don't think so, but I certainly hope not.
No, but I mean, that's sick because now he's sick.
That's my point. You know,
Yeah.
you get shot down, you can climb.
Climb back up and
Yeah.
make the maiden.
Exactly. Anyways, moving on. I want to talk a little bit about like mixing and not like sound mixing, but mixing like DJ mixing and like taste, because you've done well. Actually, this is not the first time we've collaborated. I did a guest mix for your show.
Oh yeah.
When was
Romance.
it? Yeah, 2019 maybe.
Yeah, like 2018, 2019.
Mm-hmm. And that show, from what I remember, because I only like really can remember the episode that we did, which was like I think a guest mix from me and then a guest mix from you or something like that.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. But the point is that I remember the show being not like DJ mix, which nothing wrong with that, but just like, like a 1 BPM all the way through mix, which we all know and love and whatever. But you had a lot of like, dynamic shifts and ambient music and classical things and things moving. And like, I wanted to know about like, and I equate, I like to do things like that as well because I find it interesting. And I was listening to your NTS show 2 weeks ago, maybe. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is fucking sick. This is exactly what I want to listen to in, I guess, the format of the mix, in mix form. It's like, it's uncertain. You don't know where it's going.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know.
I personally, I always feel like anxiety. Like if I have to like DJ to maybe like not like, okay, so tonight, this is on Friday, right? Yeah. Tonight when I'm about to DJ, that's like low pressure because it's fun and friends, but like with like serious like DJ people and they're like, it needs to be like this, and people are dancing, it's like that stresses me out.
Right.
But I really like DJing when it's like it can kind of, it's a more like free form.
Right.
And I was talking about this recently, but I don't know if it really came across like the way I meant it, but like I think we need a new word for something that's like in between.
I agree.
Like a DJ mix and like something else, because like what I like to do, and I'm like trying to like put myself in the future because of stuff that's happening this week. But like I have a mix that's coming out 2 days ago that I did, that is like one of my favorite ones that I've ever made.
Okay.
And
who's it for?
it's for Crack.
Oh, sick.
Magazine.
Oh, damn, sick.
Yeah, and it's like what I like to do is I like to like, it's almost like a collage, but then in between I like to like compose music. So it's like between certain songs, like I'll add like 20 seconds of like something I compose, or like if that inspires me a certain way, maybe I'll just like add a few notes and then I'll have it blend into the other song. So it's not like they're not like beat matched necessarily, or like some of them are, but some of them aren't, and I'll mostly make it on like Ableton, and like that way I can compose it. But sometimes I'll actually mix the two tracks together, export it as one file, and then put it together and like add it to the mix, so that like it kind of builds as if it's its own thing.
Yeah.
And like I don't know what we call that. We don't. Do we have a name for that?
We don't have a name for that.
But that should be a thing.
It should be a thing. It's because it's not. It's a mix. It's a DJ mix, I guess. Or maybe it's not a DJ mix. Maybe it's just a mix.
Because then, like, if you call it a DJ mix, sometimes I feel bad because then I'll, like, take, like, a little piece of someone's song and add it, and then I'm, like, I'm crediting them on the track list, but if they listen back to it, they're going to be like, what the fuck?
It's
like, you didn't even play it.
It's not even in here.
It's like, or, like, I'll take the beginning part of their song and the end part of the song, and then, like, I'll kind of, like, flow between them or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that even allowed? Is
No,
that
it
even
is.
legal?
Well, as someone who's never DJ'd, I didn't even know that isn't what you guys do, kind of.
Well, it's funny because you're the first person I've ever talked to about this, because I do the same thing. Mm-hmm. I literally have made mixes where trying to do something similar, just the idea of like trying to do this like mix of, but like a mix of Sorry, doggies by the laptop. It's okay. But it's like this thing where it's like a mix. It's a cross between DJ mixing and creating this hour-long piece.
Yeah.
And what I used to do was the exact same thing you're talking about, where it's like I would do it in Logic, but just like piece together these things, and maybe I would like go to like my DJ software and like mix like 2 songs together so that they're just like doing the thing, and then I'd export that, put it in, and like make it into this collage, and then I'd like play piano on a thing, and then I'd add like
100%
explosion sounds and all weird little things of people talking, and then like make it into like a thing.
Yeah.
And
I love doing that.
Yeah, that's like the best way to do it.
Seems like the only way I would do it.
But then you have like when people are like, okay, time to DJ, and you're like,
well, it's the difference of being. It's literally, in my opinion, the difference of being a producer and a DJ.
Yeah.
Simply put.
Yeah.
It's just like, and I don't mean that as a disrespect to DJs or a disrespect to producers. It's just like you're approaching a mix as a producer, as a musician.
That's
I feel like often they're like, people use them interchangeably. Like if you're a producer, you can also DJ, and if you are a DJ, you can also produce. But like, no,
there's a lot of bad DJ producers out there.
Yeah, and like it's not. It's like I don't know. Like I'm not ashamed to admit that like I'm not really the best DJ in terms of like a technical serious DJ, but like I think I'm a good DJ in terms of like putting things together in a way that like sounds right and sounds good, or like doing something like that's like just like for fun,
right? Which is kind of the thing that matters most, right?
I mean, to some people, but to some people it's the other way around. Like for them, it's like DJing is like it needs to be the serious thing, and that's like totally respectable too. That's their own thing, you know. But I don't know if they're necessarily
good
songwriters.
And but you know what?
Yeah, that's fine.
And just to defend the DJs out there, because let me tell you, there's a lot of those clowns that listen to this podcast.
I think what they do is amazing. I wish I could, but I don't.
I'm just kidding.
Oh my god.
But what I was gonna say is that is at the same time there are also a lot of producers that are bad DJs.
100%.
Just to make it even, because I do truly believe that
no, but like that's me.
No. But I mean that there are bad producers that think they're DJs and are bad. Sorry, they're good producers that think they're DJs as well and are bad DJs, and there's good DJs that think they're producers and are bad producers. It's like it's interchangeable.
I think like the people who are good at what they do are like good at what they do. Like I don't think there's anything to be said about that. Like honestly, like I don't really consider myself a DJ, because when I'm doing like a DJ mix, I'm not really doing a DJ mix. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if someone put me in front of like a crowd of like 2,000 people, they were like, I feel like
go nuts.
Like good fucking luck. Like no way. Like no way is that gonna sound good. Well, and like that's what DJs do. And that's like
that's insane.
That's all of those people having an amazing time.
Yeah.
And like all those people are looking at that DJ being like, thank you for that amazing time, you know?
Yeah.
Which is like something I don't think I can deliver.
Right.
However, I don't know. What I can do is like put together like a I don't know, like a collage, like a piece of work that uses other people's songs.
You're so right that there needs to be a different name, because those are just like 2 different things.
Yeah.
And I feel like we'll probably go back and forth on this if we don't come up with a new name.
We
debating which is better. And they're just different.
We got to come up with something, because I do agree that they're like 2 separate things.
Totally.
And like my current idea is DJ mix versus mix.
Just take out the DJ.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a mixtape, but it's not your music necessarily.
A mixtape would also work.
I feel like a mixtape though is like maybe you're taking other people's production, but you're like singing or rapping on it.
I got it. It's not a mix. Well, a mixtape in my mind is like a mixtape of just like, think if you burn a mixtape.
Yeah, your favorite songs.
But we'll call it a mixed tape.
That's pretty good.
Okay, you nailed it. You should copyright that right now. Mixed tape TM.
There you go.
You heard it here first,
have a mixed tape party.
Damn. I like that.
Mixtape set by.
Oh my god. Okay, well,
you Google it. Someone already. It's a known thing. There's a Wikipedia page already.
that'll be our mix here. The Cold Pod mixed tape series.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Where people make mixed tapes, but they don't no DJ equipment.
No DJ equipment.
Just Ableton. I wanted to talk a little bit about, because I actually didn't know this, but I was doing my research today, reading some interviews. You in classical music.
Yeah.
What I need to know more about this.
Okay, so I started playing violin at like maybe 5 years. So my grandfather was like a professional violinist in Serbia, and my grandmother was like a piano teacher, and my mom went to like serious like piano school. So it's like my whole family was like super musical. And so when I was young, they started me on violin, but like when I first started, because I was so young, and like they put this in the, bio and stuff, but it's like, it was a Kleenex box with like a cardboard like a
and like an elastic,
and it was covered in, it was like a Kleenex box with like a paper towel tube, so it's like that was the neck of the violin that they wrapped in like gift wrapping paper that was like had all these like yellow happy faces, and I like remember it, but like I used to use that and like have a stick to like play violin, so I can learn how to hold the violin before like, because if you give like such a young child like a small violin, they're gonna break it. So it's like I had to learn how to play, and I actually had violin lessons on a piece of cardboard to like.
Is this a Serbian thing, or is this just a
I don't know. I don't know. But so like I was taking violin lessons, learning how to play my Kleenex box. And then got like traded to like a very small violin, and then just kind of kept doing that my whole life. And then like in high school, I was playing in a bunch of different orchestras, went to like music camp and like violin camp, and like did that forever. And then kind of like somewhere in my like late teens, I like wanted to learn guitar, so then I started taking guitar lessons, and I ended up doing opera lessons, like classical like vocal lessons with opera. And then I went back to violin for a bit, but like violin was really like my first foray into music. And with that, like it's not like you just go to like the Royal Conservatory and like just do violin. You have to do like theory, and then you go into theory classes, and you have theory exams and stuff like that. So that was kind of like my first music stuff.
Really sick though. Do you think that, so I mean, obviously the obvious answer is yes, but do you think that shaped your songwriting and how you create music at this point? Or
I don't know.
You try to like forget certain things?
I don't know. Like, I feel like sometimes when people are like really, really good with like theory and stuff, then, or like just like really technically good with things, that like they're so focused on that maybe they lose like a sense of like looseness or something. But I don't know if I ever really got like fully there, but it really shaped like my whole kind of upbringing and childhood. So I don't know if it like influenced. I'm sure it does in certain ways.
Is there any violin on your music now? Like
on
real violin, I should say, because
on
like,
Daydream, there's a whole string like interlude like break that is me playing violin.
And the reason I said it the way I said it is because we obviously play with samples and things like that. But like, it's you actually playing violin. Yeah, cool.
I don't know. I feel like I stopped. Like, I've recently really been wanting to get back into it, but like, the thing that like stops me almost is that, I mean, I don't know, we all live in like houses with neighbors, and like when you're like practicing violin, it's not like you're just like, it's not like you're pulling out the guitar, and then it's like strumming along. It's like it's like you have to like practice, and when you practice, you're playing the same piece over and over and over again, and it's loud, and there's no way to make it quiet. I mean, there is, but then you're not really doing it. And like I just get like shy. I don't know. I'm like, I don't want to annoy my neighbors. Like when I was like at my parents' house, obviously growing up, it's like it's a house, so it's you're not really influencing or like annoying anyone. But yeah, no, I want to get back into like doing lessons and things, because I really do love it, and I've always loved it.
You played for how
so
many
you
years?
Loved it when you were a kid too, like when you, because that's insane to me. when like kids love. I'm sure
there was like I'm sure there was times where I was like, please don't make me go. But like I remember like at one point I switched teachers because I was with the same teacher for like a decade, and then like switched teachers because so like my grandfather and my family, they're very strict. Like when I went to like university, they were like, you can be a doctor, an engineer, or like finance. And
Yeah,
I was like, thank you so much. But like, it's, you know, like a stricter upbringing. And especially like with my grandfather, who's like a professional, like it was strict. And so I think that when we were in Canada, and then I had a Canadian teacher, he was like, for example, like I wouldn't practice and he'd be like, you did amazing. And my parents were like, are you like, no, she didn't.
Oh,
like,
interesting.
She's like, she didn't practice at all and she sounds like shit. And why are you telling her she did amazing? So it's like, I was with this teacher for a while and I was like, I love him. But my parents like really not totally happy with it.
Nope.
So then I ended up switching to another one who was like a little bit more strict. And then that's when I kind of was like, I don't know if I want to do this all the time. It was around the same time too. Like growing up, I would go to Serbia like all summer. Like my parents would like, I would be in Canada for like the school year and then go there for like 2 months, you know? So it's like back and forth. And then like, I think at a certain age, like 15, 16, you're like, I want to do my own thing.
Right.
So that's kind of when I started like not doing it as much, but I was still playing in like some orchestras. But I don't know. What was the question?
The question was just, I just wanted to know more about this because
Yeah.
I know you, I've known you for a very long time. And I feel like I did know a little bit about this, but I didn't and it's obviously in like a lot of like press releases and stuff. It's this sort of like, you know, violin, orchestral background, classical music background, but I actually just don't know. I didn't know the story. I didn't know like how deep in it you were.
Yeah.
You're a young Lydia Tarr.
Yeah. That's me.
I'm joking.
But yeah, I don't know. I did a lot growing up, and I was actually Googling the other day. I was like, adult orchestras, like what can I be a part of? Because I don't know what goes on anymore. But I was like, I like just the feeling of being in something with other people, and like not to be like shady towards people who play other instruments, but I really didn't like the sound of like band instruments growing up. Like,
Interesting.
I had to play in like a full orchestra that wasn't a string orchestra.
Let me guess, you didn't like brass.
No, I didn't like brass.
I knew it.
I didn't like brass, and I also didn't like percussion with like in the mix.
Right.
But I think that also has to do with like when you're growing. I know I like it in
I'm just curious.
in some, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it also has to do with like when you're growing up and like people not being like very good at their instruments.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah, true.
if you're like, honestly, I don't even know, because if you're bad at violin as a kid, it sounds like insane. It sounds horrible. But also same with brass. But for some reason, I don't know, violin was maybe like more, I was more used to it or something.
I also think I think that string instruments are just actually more round sounding, like a softer round sound versus like, you know.
I don't know if you've ever heard like a 6-year-old play violin, but it's,
Yeah, I mean,
there's
I
nothing
think
round
it's
about
pretty
it. It's like,
Have
it
you
is
ever
like,
heard an 8-year-old play trumpet? Because that was me. and
That's
that
how
shit
you-
sucks.
I did.
See,
That's what I didn't like.
Yeah.
I'm really just upset. I'm obsessed with the idea that you could be interested in music and like dedicated enough to practice music at that young of an age, because I like could not do that.
I mean, a lot of it has to do with like your family too. Like,
yeah,
I didn't have a choice.
I didn't have strict enough parents, which I wish I had more strict parents.
It's because you're Canadian.
I also kind of.
It's because I'm Canadian. What do you feel like? That I'm really interested in that. Do you think that is good? Like what? Like, or is there just like a fine line in between the two?
I don't know. Because maybe, like, when I was a kid, I was like, I'm so jealous of all my Canadian friends.
Yeah.
But now, I'm like, if I had a kid, like,
Yeah,
they're going to fucking know how to play this instrument.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they're going to be practicing every fucking day.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I don't know, maybe you just turn into your parents. But, like, I don't know. I, like...
Yeah,
No,
I always go back and forth on that.
Same,
I think
same.
there's something in the middle
Yeah.
between like super
Probably.
strict and not strict at all, obviously.
Yeah, I think you can pull from both.
But then it's like, can you? I don't know. I
think you can. I think you can. I feel like I would maybe be somewhere in between now.
Yeah.
But I would much rather have had a stricter upbringing than not, because had I been allowed to kind of like get away with certain things that I may have wanted to,
Right.
I don't think I would have developed certain skills that I have now.
Right.
And I really, really
Totally.
am happy to have those skills, like with like school and like math and like languages
Right.
and, you know, like just like certain things
Yeah.
that like if I had my way, I probably wouldn't have been forced into doing it.
Yeah.
Well, part of the
and
reason. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Part of the reason I didn't learn music was because I would just like fucking smash my hands against the keyboard, and my parents would be like, "Wow, good job," and I was just like, "Okay, sick. I mastered the piano.
yeah.
I don't need to do this anymore," you know. And that
Yeah.
was terrible because I mean, and I've told my parents this, so I don't feel bad if they hear this, but like, yeah.
Do your parents listen to this?
My dad does. Yeah, he's an avid listener. Shout out Russ Hutchings.
My parents listen too.
I'm sorry that I called them Canadian.
No, he'd be great.
No, but I think that there is a level too where you do figure out bits of it yourself though, because like with me and like, I guess technically my first instrument was the either piano or trumpet. They were around the same time, but separately. Piano was like my parents sending me to piano lessons, and trumpet was me in the school band being like, I want to learn something that just seemed more chaotic and like dynamic. You know, like piano, just like you see your piano's piano, but like trumpet was like, it's also gold. It's a fucking gold instrument. So of course I wanted one as like a 8-year-old.
Yeah.
So like I got one through the school band and like would practice, but I got into it because I liked the idea of playing it and I wanted to get better. And like honestly, some of the weirdest stuff too was the idea of like, busking is the wrong version of what I'm talking about, but the idea of like being like, I want to just be able to be like, I want to be able to whip out my trumpet and go like, and be like, wow, like that was like,
Yeah, impressive. Yeah.
yeah.
Although the one thing I will say that's like with when I said like I didn't really like brass, I did like woodwinds. So I feel like for me it was like the more abrasive sounds, which is interesting because when I got into guitar, I only wanted to play electric guitar. I didn't want to play the acoustic, but I feel like I didn't really like abrasive sounds. And even now, like I feel like I get like if someone like drops something on the floor too loudly, like I get really upset. Like if I hear a really loud noise, I get like I like almost start to cry. Like I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
like
that kind of
we don't need
explains
to
the
unpack
usage.
that.
And yet you were somehow making, noisy industrial tracks in 2019.
Yeah, but that's like
before this album.
I don't know, yeah. But
Interesting.
I don't even know.
But I guess So, but I think that it kind of does make sense as to the music you're making now, because there is, I even like in my notes had kind of put down like new age music, and
I love new age music.
Yeah.
I figured, but it's like I think it's interesting to sort of like look at I think that the album that you're making now, having like learned this little piece of history about you, feels like a full circle moment, because it feels like you started in this thing that you then rejected and went the exact opposite way. And now as you've like made this album under your own name and realized that the things that you rebelled were actually influential in the sound and the music you're making now, it's like it's come full circle.
That's really cute. I never thought of it that way.
But it like listening to it, it's like it makes sense. It's like there's orchestral moments, there's strings, there's this sort of washy like warm sound. It's not jagged, it's not angular, and it's just like that's the exact opposite of like, I'm sure the sort of like when you're like, I only wanted to play electric guitar, it's like it's the opposite of that.
Yeah, I was listening the other day to a playlist of like really really new agey and like kind of like
how new age we were talking.
Like, I don't even know. I don't even know. I don't even want to get into it. Maybe I'll send it to you.
Okay, please do.
But I was like listening to it and like stuff that people would be like, this is so corny.
Yeah.
And I was like I had my AirPods in and I was like, I fucking love this. I was like, no one else can listen to what I'm listening to right now, but I love it. I was like,
that shit is so sick. Like, I was listening to Enigma a couple weeks ago.
Amazing.
And I was just like, man, this shit is so good.
It's so sick.
Is that new? I guess that's new age, right?
For sure.
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
anything with a flute in it, anything with like, like I can't. It's so good.
But there's something about those like guilty pleasures that because you have like you understand why people find it corny, but you still like it, you can then kind of like bridge those two things. You know what I mean? You can make that kind of music, but for people who wouldn't like that kind of music. Well, yeah, and that kind of creates like a whole new sound, which is sick.
Yeah.
Well, because like your shit doesn't have like you said, flute solo.
It does.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I guess it does.
but that's what I'm saying. It doesn't.
It's actually
come
a
off.
handmade flute that
Shit, it does.
bends. parents' friend in BC hand carved this like wooden flute and gave it to him as a gift, and then he played it on the record, I think, on So Long.
Yeah,
which is
you guys like.
No, you're right.
But it doesn't come off. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't come off as corny, and
Yes.
that's something that, you know, I don't know why that is.
It's called nuance.
It's called
I
nuance.
have a flute
you
also
go.
on the second last song, Flame, but I think that one was a flute sample that I reversed.
Okay.
But it still was like the flute. I'm
But
like,
these are
wherever I can put it in, I'm like, just add, it needs more flute.
These are the Easter eggs of the album, which is good to know. Damn,
That's sick.
sick.
I'm gonna listen for these.
Yeah, I
flutes, man.
gotta go back and listen tonight. Shit, is there anything?
Everybody who's listening should listen tonight because it's already out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone, if you're listening, the
You
album
should be
is
having
out.
this on in the background, listening to Cold Pod and this at the same time.
Yes. Well, I think we're just about wrapped up. Once again,
Sweet.
a single of my choice from the album will be, you know, bleeding in slowly right now. The album, Kat Duma, Real Life, is out today. Go stream it on your favorite DSP. And the release show is tonight at 915 DuPont. Kat Duma will be performing with a live band.
I thought you said at 9 and then 1-5 DuPont. I'm like, it is at 9 p.m., but it's 9-1.
915 DuPont.
At 9.
Are you playing at 9?
No, I don't know.
Okay, whatever.
We're doing a Doors at 9.
Doors at
Doors at
9.
9.
Come through. It's going to be a family. We're all the people, the very people you're listening to talk right now. We're all going to be there. Kat will be performing live. I will be DJing. Caitlin DeVito will be DJing. Kat will also be DJing. There will be drinks. There will be things.
There'll be drinks. There'll be
Oh, yeah.
conversations.
All you could ask for.
All you could ask for.
The
Kat,
set times, we don't have any. We're just going to feel it out.
Feel it out.
When it feels right, that's when we're going to play.
Yeah,
So
that's-
don't ask me for something.
yeah, and also don't ask for guests.
Because it's pay what you can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if you do that, you're a real piece of work.
No. If you can't pay anything, you don't have to. That's the whole point. So
if you
don't
ask for
ask
guest
for
lists,
guest
if you ask for
lists.
guest lists to a show that costs nothing,
People don't ask for guest lists because they don't want to pay anything. It's because they just want to feel like they're on the guest list.
Okay, so
It's a
here's
clout
nice
one
feeling.
thing, just quickly before
No,
we
no,
wrap
let's
up.
go.
I don't know what the venue capacity is. So I had anxiety before that no one's gonna come, and now I have anxiety that too many people are gonna come, and I don't know what the capacity is, so you have to come early.
come early.
Because there's no guest list of guaranteeing anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Imagine I don't even get it.
Could happen.
You're gonna get it.
All right, Kat, thank you for coming through.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
This was very fun.